sales and marketing are slowly becoming one and the same thing. And I strongly believe this. Thanks for technology. I think over the next few years, there won't be a real discernible difference between sales and marketing.
So many people haven't really thought about their customer journey from beginning to end. Like, what are all the steps that you take somebody through from first hearing about you through to becoming a client and beyond?
I think you must be my long lost brother. We were separated at birth, right?
Oh, Vish.
What is it that stops people from, actually turning their leads into real paying clients? And what are your top tips on being able to do that? To another episode of the Ultimate Marketing Podcast, the one and only podcast you should be listening to if you want to know how to market your business, how to market yourself, and learn all the trends, tips, and techniques that are right for your business today. So I am Danita Patney, and my co-hosts are Sarah Cox. Sarah, say hello.
Hi, everyone.
And of course, the one and only Vish Baba.
Why don't you ask me to say hello?
Oh, I thought you'd do it anyway. You don't have to be asked to speak, especially you, Vish.
Waiting minds, I know, right? Thanks.
We do have a phenomenal guest on today, but before I introduce him, let's do the usual housekeeping, because you should all listen to housekeeping. It's a bit like when you get on a plane and you have to listen to how to put your seatbelt on. So make sure that you give this podcast a follow, a like, comment, ask questions, give us your thoughts, subscribe to it, download it. I don't even know what the right word to say for podcasts is. Go over to our YouTube channel, The Ultimate Marketing Podcast. Give us a subscribe and a like there as well. And obviously share with your friends. We're on all the major platforms, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher. Those are the only three that I remember. And obviously on YouTube. So you'll find us everywhere. Just give us a search by our name, The Ultimate Marketing Podcast. Right, today's topic is all around sales and conversion. Because sales and marketing really is, I believe, two sides to one coin. And so I would love to introduce our very esteemed guest. I said earlier that me and him are each other's appreciation society, but please welcome the amazing Alex Rosborough.
Thanks for
She really likes a drum roll. I don't know why she didn't give you a drum roll today.
No, guess what I found out, by the way, on that drum, on the music
It wasn't recording,
thing.
was it?
It was only playing on my side. It doesn't actually play on your side. So I need to figure out how to use that. Look, I'm going to ask Alex to give us an intro anyway, but let me just give him a little bit of a bio that I feel like I should. So basically, Alex actually works alongside coaches and consultants, so a very similar audience to all of us, to craft a 6-figure pipeline of high-quality leads and then close those leads at 85%.
Boom.
And I know, boom. And he uses solid principles to create a strategy that is fueled by clever tactics. So that's the kind of bit that I want to leave
That's like
it
really
at.
black hat stuff. Like, are you special ops, dude? What's going on? Are you special ops?
going on? Special ops.
Yes,
I like that.
special ops.
MI5 or is it MI6? One of those.
One of the MIs.
But Alex, look, clever tactics. I think this will keep most of our viewers and listeners on their toes because I'm not going to give them a clever tactics, frankly, because I don't know what they are. So, Alex, give us a little intro on you.
Yeah, so shall I start giving you a bit of a background of me, what's led me to where I am today?
Yeah.
So I kind of fell into the marketing game by accident. I think, how old was I? I was about 17 at the time. And I had a friend called Dan who'd fall asleep everywhere, right? And you know what young lads are like. Your friend falls asleep, you terrorise him, you draw a moustache on him, you shave an eyebrow off, that kind of thing. So we, being lads, we thought it'd be funny to do this kind of thing and take pictures. And one day I thought, wouldn't it be cool to build a website to put all this footage and pictures on to share it with my friends? How cool would that be? So I've opened up WordPress, learned how to use WordPress, put together a bit of a website called don'tfallasleepdan.com. And then I thought, wouldn't it be great to get this to the top of Google as well. So I started playing around with SEO. And at the time, I don't know how long you guys have been sort of in the marketing game, but back then,
Too long.
Well, you would know this then, Dee. You would just paste your URL in the footer, the same colour as the footer, as many times as you could possibly fit it, and you'd start appearing at the top of Google, right? So before I knew it, everyone in the local area had seen don'tfallasleepdan.com, and Dan had become a bit of a celebrity. And then next minute, Dan's dad approached me, who was a dentist, and asked me, can you do that for my business? Don't see why not. So we did it, got to the top of Google, and before you know it, he was referring me to all of his friends, and I kind of had this weird website and SEO agency that I'd built without even sort of consciously doing it. So this sort of started to snowball, and it got to a point where, look, I knew how to, get to the top of Google and build websites, but I knew nothing about business. So I kind of got a bit sick of that and decided to get rid of that business and sold that. And do you guys know someone called Jay Hastings?
Yeah, Simon. He works for Simon Coulson.
Yeah, so I went into business with Jay and started a business called the Video Marketing Specialists, where does what it says on the tin. Video marketing, right? And it was around 2014 when social media first hit smartphones. So traffic on social media kind of 10x'd almost overnight, which left massive opportunities. So we sort of, although we were video marketing, we sort of focused more on the social media side of things, social media ads, social media content, and that did really well. But I sort of got a bit fed up, a bit sick and tired. So it's like, well, I'm done. So I decided to sell my shares in the business, put that in property so I could be a bit of a bum for a while. And, what do you do when you want to be a bit of a bum for a while? You go to university, right? So I decided to go to university for a while.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
And then as I was sort of doing my PhD at the time, that's when COVID hit. So I was like, right, well, I need to get back in the market and provide value. I can't just sort of stay here and be a bum while everyone's suffering. And I could sort of see the opportunity. Everyone's being pushed online. So it made more sense for me to get back in. So my original plan was to start a chatbot marketing agency. But the problem was, in the UK, most businesses don't really understand what chatbots are. I mean, for example, in 2020, if I went up to a business owner in the UK and said, oh, tell me, what's a chatbot? They'd probably say, 99 times out of 100, they'd say, isn't it that annoying thing in the bottom right corner that I can never get a bloody answer out of? I'm like, yeah, that is a chatbot, but no, that's not what a chatbot can do. So it became very apparent to me that I'll probably spend most of my time educating business owners on what chatbots are and not actually generating revenue in the business. So I actually partnered up with Simon Coulson, and leveraged his network to help me launch a full service agency. Now, most people cringe at that. Ooh, full service. Ooh, and I get it. It's not niche. It is quite broad. However, going with the full service option, I could then leverage Simon's network quite easily. Yeah. So I managed to do that, build up quite a significant pipeline very quickly, and then that helped me get this agency off the ground relatively quickly. Now, fast forward to 2022, agency stuff's going well, but I kind of see where the market's moving. Sort of SMEs are dropping like flies, big blue chips are adding billions to their balance sheets. Couldn't be more obvious. SMEs are going to be wiped out, and there's only going to be the very small guys at the bottom and the huge blue chips in the middle, no one in between. So it kind of made sense for me, look, these guys who need marketing the most can't afford marketing. So I need to think of a solution in which I can help these guys with their marketing without having them to pay out their rear end in terms of agency prices. So over the last few years, sort of 2020 to 2022, I found a system that works really, really well for any offer that requires you to take your clients through a process. So, course creation, consulting, coaching, most B2B services, it works really well. So, but you guys know as well as I do, it's hard to implement something like that in your business when the infrastructure is already in place.
Yeah.
So it made more sense for me to say, right, I'm going to create a consulting offer. I'm going to implement this system for myself as a means of selling that same system to other people. So that's kind of where I am now. 2 branches of the business: consulting, which is what you see me pushing on LinkedIn, and the agency stuff. But with the agency stuff, I tend to rely on paid ads and webinar funnels specifically.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much my journey to where I am today,
Oh my
guys.
gosh, yeah. And there's stuff in there that even I didn't know. And I've met Alex a few times and we've chatted over EMC. I just remember chatting in the bar for a long time. My brother was there, Dipesh, as well. So we chatted loads. It's really interesting how you see the future, actually, Alex, in terms of, like you said, kind of the SME market kind of dropping. Why do you believe that?
Well, number one, COVID. I mean, lots of these businesses were forced to shut down. Margins increased massively as a result, and they were all dependent on imaginary money that the government was printing out of nowhere and not really considering how that's going to be paid back. Now, out of the back of COVID, there's still the same amount of money printing going on, but people are spending now, which means inflation's being realised, people are panicking, and that's just creating this perfect storm in which people aren't spending, people have no money, businesses have no money, and on top of that, we've got all this extra legislation around taxes being increased, and just small business owners are being squeezed from every single angle. And it just seems to be getting worse. It seems like the government is hell-bent on crushing small businesses. And I feel that it's our obligation to come together and ensure that SMEs, remain strong, that we do have a future. Because, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want my kids to grow up in a future where the only choice they have is if they work for Amazon, Apple, or Facebook. And I see that coming unless, we collaborate. But I'm an optimist, and I see a lot of collaboration going on at the moment, which keeps me hopeful.
Yeah, definitely. The world of collaborations. We talk a lot about that, don't we, guys?
We do.
It's definitely the way forward. And like even with like the Facebooks, Googles, Amazons, etc., like people are starting to wise up to that now, Alex. I fully agree with you. Like people don't want to like even text. They because my friends are in recruitment as well, and they don't want to work for them. They're like, "Well, is the job for Facebook?" They're like, "We can't tell you," but when it transpires that it is for Facebook, that no, we don't want it. We don't want it. Like because there's just no job security. In that you're treated like bottom of the rung. But yeah, it is moving that way, and I agree with you, mate.
So when it comes to one of the things that I love about your posts and things like that, when you talk about the because sales and marketing, I believe, really do, they partner up. You can't do one without the other. No. And so from people find it quite easy or easier to bring those leads in. And yet here you are talking about an 85% sales conversion. So tell our audience a little bit more about that. Like, what is it that stops people from actually turning their leads into real paying clients? And what are your top tips on being able to do that? I know you've got a system.
So try and explain this without going into too much detail and giving away the secrets. So it all stems from what you just mentioned, Dee, the fact of sales and marketing are slowly becoming one and the same thing. And I strongly believe this. Thanks for technology. I think over the next few years, there won't be a real discernible difference between sales and marketing, because the sales process begins the moment the marketing process works online. Because if you think about it, we've constantly got updated, fresh content going out every day with new ideas that's constantly reaching our audience. Therefore, that's when the sales process should begin. We should be looking to educate them, nurture them on the offer, address sales objections. These are all things that would normally take place in the sales process that should now be taking place within our marketing process, right? Yeah. So when I say close 85%, that's because the call should be for closing, not selling. Yeah. And I see so many people who, they see all these people doing amazing things, getting amazing results online, and they're like, oh, that makes sense, I'm going to copy that. Never really taking the time to understand what's actually going on there. what are they trying to achieve in these actions they're taking, right?
Yeah.
So they're pushing people through objection handling content. They're educating people on their offer in their content. Then they get on the call. Then they're going through the whole thing all over again on the call. And all that does is overwhelm the prospect on the call, which in turn opens up to more sales objections. And before you know it, you're just stuck in this whirlwind of objections from a confused prospect who's never going to buy because they're completely uncertain as to what exactly you're going to do for them, because they're just so confused. It's all about eliminating that confusion, having a clear journey from start to finish of what information you're providing, what objections are important at that specific stage of the journey, and what comes next. And then finishing it with the call. Closing at 85% is easy. And in fact, that's on the lower end. You can close up to 95% quite easily if you're addressing the correct objections at the correct stage of the buyer cycle. And again, this is another thing people don't have. They don't have a clear customer journey. Where am I finding my prospects? How am I turning those into leads? How am I qualifying leads? How am I presenting the offer and generating conversations from those qualified leads? How am I booking them on the sales call? See, salespeople, they understand that process. But when it comes to mixing it with the world of marketing online, it all just becomes overwhelmingly confusing, but it really isn't. It's just about, instead of addressing it by asking questions on the call, we're addressing it by getting creative and implementing it in our content, in our landing pages, and all the stages leading up to the call. Does that make sense?
It does.
I can tell you now, Sarah Cox is very excited.
I'm really excited. I love the fact you said about customer journeys. Like, for me, when I'm working with clients, that's one of the first things we do is, as well as understanding who their clients are, we go through what is your customer journey, because in terms of building a funnel, I need to know what the end goal is for the funnel to create the funnel. And so many people haven't really thought about their customer journey from beginning to end. Like, what are all the steps that you take somebody through from first hearing about you through to becoming a client and beyond? So I just love the fact that you mentioned that, because in my experience, most people haven't mapped that out. So they're not really clear. And therefore, what happens then is when they come to create a lead magnet, it's not necessarily aligned with what their ultimate offer is, because they haven't mapped out the beginning to end process. And obviously what you want is your lead magnet to be linked to what you're ultimately trying to sell.
Absolutely. And one of the most underutilized sort of, I'd say, symptoms of not having a clear customer journey is not having clear data. And you guys, you're all marketers, you know that marketing is just a game of data. Gathering data, analysing data, and optimising our strategy based on that data. That's all it is. Now, if you haven't got a clear customer journey, right, this is step one, I don't know, they click an ad, they land on the landing page, they register for the event, they turn up for the event, they book a call on the back of the event, and then we close the sale. If we don't know the data, what percentage of people who landed on the page then went to register, what percentage of people who registered then turned up for the event. If we don't know these numbers, then how do we know what's working, what's not working? Ultimately, all we're going to say is, right, the strategy isn't working, let's try a different strategy. That's not effective. That's not how you do marketing. And in fact, without the data, no strategy is ever going to work.
And that is so important. I think, like you said, the data man down there, Vish, he geeks out on this stuff, don't you, Vish?
Don't get me started.
It's all right. I'll bring you back in order if you go off.
Yeah, thanks, man. So, but that is so true. Like, I totally agree with you. It's all data led, but there's a surprising amount of people out there that have no finger on pulse at all. Like, they just go, yeah, let's try this, and then they're like, oh, that didn't work. Let's try this, and then and that's what unfortunately gives agencies a really bad name, which is why I feel before they've even got to you, there's already 101 objections, because they're like, actually, either it's happened to me or I know someone that's had a bad experience with an agency, because there's not a strategic or a logical approach to doing it in that way. And so it kind of makes the job a little bit harder to kind of get them on the phone. But once they're there and you show them that you're a data-led approach, I think they're like, oh, yeah, like nobody's ever spoken to us about this before. So I definitely agree with you. But then also, by the same token, just because it should be measured, should it? What's your thoughts on that, Alex? Like, how much data do you measure, bro? Like, because where do you draw the line? Because if it was me, I'd measure everything.
Oh, Vish. So I've worked with people like you who have data sets upon data sets upon data sets.
Yeah.
I think again, it all comes back to customer journey. What are the key? What are the goals you're looking to achieve with the actions that you're taking, and what are the key drivers of that? I mean, if you're a bit like you, Vish, and you like to have data on everything, then by all means begin with all the data metrics and take all the data. But over time, that data will tell you what's important and what's not.
Yeah.
And you can start eliminate, right, this KPI here, it doesn't really seem to be having an impact on this KPI here that we're trying to track. So let's ditch that. And over time, you can kind of refine the KPIs that you're working on and come out with a select few that are absolutely detrimental into measuring success and performance of that key outcome that you're looking to track.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I fully agree with you. Because when we say funnel, so when D goes, Vish is the funnel expert, it's not just a click funnel or a landing page. No. It is actually the start process from when they see the advert, when they click on the advert. We look at like landing page clicks, we look at like conversions on page, and then which part of that, when we change a part of it, what gives us the best result. And unfortunately, a lot of agencies, no, not the ones here, but a lot of agencies don't look at it from that. They're like, let's just change. They change like 6 things at the same time. But it is about figuring out. But and then you got no data that is actually like valid, but it's good. But then so the challenge I see with that is, how do you explain that to customers? Like they're like, that's the holy grail, isn't it? Right? How do you explain that?
And I think one of the things around that about explaining it to customers, and we'd love your thoughts on that as well, on this and this part of it, on what Vish said, is when you're explaining it to customers, I often find that the reason I'm having to explain that marketing is data and it's important to test and tweak is because they always ask for guarantees. And that just, in my head, I go, oh my God, there are no guarantees in marketing. The only guarantee you will get, if you're obviously an ethical business like all of us are, and a credible one, is that I will do everything it takes to make this work. And if it doesn't work, I will tell you. But it's the data element that they need to be educated on, don't they? That marketing isn't a guarantee, because what might work for your business, Alex, might not work for mine, even if we were in the same niche. It still wouldn't necessarily work.
Exactly. You're 100% right. And the data is the hardest thing to get across to our prospects when we're on the call. It really is, because people's eyes glaze over when you talk data, right? Business owners, they want you to tell them, oh, we're going to get you thousands of leads and sales. That's what they want to hear. They don't want to hear, right, we're going to increase this metric by X%, and they're like, what? It's just glazed over. But what I've found is that when I go in on a call and I say, look, marketing's a game of data. And what we need to do is we need to harvest data, analyze that, and in order to optimize for our chosen outcome. You kind of see their eyes start glazing over. Then what I do is I show them an example. I give them a set customer journey funnel, and I'm like, right, here's the key steps in that funnel. Here's the data. As you can see, all we need is X number of clicks here to get X number of conversations and X number of sales. So over time, we know that for every X number in ad spend, we get X number of sales out the back end. It's a predictable, scalable system. When I show them that example, their eyes light up. It's almost as if I've just turned around and said to them, I can get you 1,000 sales in the next week. It's like, whoa, this is good. And all of a sudden, the boring concept of data becomes the most exciting thing on the call that you've shared with them, just by showing them how these numbers can be translated into leads and sales. They're like, oh, I get it now. So it's that penny drop moment. So I find just showing them the numbers, here's the numbers and here's what they mean, it's a game changer for the person on the call.
I think you must be my long lost brother. We were separated at birth, right?
Oh, Vish.
Bro, come on, man. But that's it. Like, because numbers, like, and this is the problem, right? People go in there and go,
that to every data person.
Just you, Alex. Just you on this call specifically. No, but it's true, right? Because it is actually relating that data to like real world gains for them. This is what it means. This is what an increase in a 3% conversion on your sign up at lead magnet or whatever your first stage is, top of funnel, equates to at bottom of funnel. And then if we tweak everything, this is how much it means for you revenue wise. And then if we bring your lead cost down, this is what it means to you. And I put together like an arbitrary little conversion calculator, and I literally take into account how much are you willing to spend on a lead right now. Like the first question I ask is, how much are you paying for leads? They're like, oh, you would pay this much. I'm like, if you could drop it by like, a $5, what would that mean to you? They're like, we don't know. And I'm like, let me show you. And then, assuming your conversion rates, because it's money, right? That's what they're there in business for. And they don't almost want to decipher the marketing side of it. But anyway, that's it.
I think.
Sorry.
Sorry, but you finish your point.
I'm going to hand it to Sarah now.
Yeah, I was going to say, because mine's going to become like bromance questions.
This is where I start to take control. Sarah, over to you.
I was going to talk about data, but what I was going to say about data is, and for me, another reason why it's important is working with clients, they'll often think their funnel or their webinar or whatever it is isn't working. So with data, we can say it's not that the whole thing's not working, it's one piece of it isn't working. And with data, you can show them that. So they may say, well, they may have had like 1,000 leads and they'll go, but I haven't sold anything, so it doesn't work. Well, it does work because you've just got 1,000 leads. It's obviously you've got a sales problem because you've got the leads, you're not converting them. So we need to fix something there. So I think it's really important with the data so that we can say to them as well, like we can identify what's working, what's not working, focus on the bits that aren't working, increase them, optimize them, like you said, Alex, and therefore we get the whole thing like a well-oiled machine, a well-oiled system. But without the data, you don't know that, do you?
No, that's it. Data's everything. It really is. You need it to identify opportunities for optimization. And here's a great real-world example, Sarah, from a recent client that I've been working with. She's been running events from her private community, and she was getting tons of registrations, but her turnout was less than 30%. So all we did, we looked at the data, and obviously it was very clear that the problem was between turning up for the event and registering for the event. So all we did was we worked on the reminder and notifications running up to the event, and it went from around 30% to over 80% just from doing that. But without the data, you'd never know that. You would just see, oh, it's not working. And as Vish said, what most people do, oh, let's just try something else, And taking that approach, nothing's ever going to work, because you guys know as well as I do, in the world of marketing, nothing works out the box. We might get something that indicates something's working, but then we focus on that and make it work even better. And we keep optimizing until eventually, like you said, Sarah, we have that well-oiled machine.
And I think that's another thing in terms of explaining to clients, we have to explain it's a long-term game. It's not a quick magic fix. So they're not suddenly going to have a funnel that works like magic and suddenly make £1 million.
No.
We've got to set it up. We've got to put it out there. We've got to test it. We've got to see what happens. We've got to measure it and then refine it. And that's got to be continuously done over time.
Absolutely.
So I'm always having conversations about continuous improvement and tweaking different bits to see what effect it has. Absolutely.
And one of the things I find myself having a conversation around a lot is this, people don't really understand what a funnel is. In a sense, I kind of tend to use the word customer journey, but a funnel, a customer journey, it's all the same. Funnel, customer journey, it's the same term for exactly the same thing. And when I say to people, what's a funnel, most people will say, isn't it just a series of landing pages and opt-ins? I'm like, well, no, not really. It's just the journey you're taking on your customers. Your pipeline. What does that look like? What are the steps? And it can go as far as like chatbots, for example. That's essentially a funnel, just in a conversational format. Yeah. So that's one thing I've been finding that a lot of people have been confused about recently.
Yeah, because that word funnel just often has always related to a landing page of some sort, hasn't it? Like, I'll build a funnel for you. It's like, I'll build the landing page for you.
Yeah.
Whereas as opposed to, let's look at your whole customer journey and where are the gaps, what needs to be filled, what have you not got, what have you got, and is it working? And so it's a much longer process. And I think that's why people don't see the value of it. Alex, in your world, like, the world of AI obviously is massive. And how do you think it's going to impact, or how is it already impacting the way that you deliver your service to your clients?
Wow, that's a deep question there, Dee.
That's
So,
me.
yeah, I've got some strong opinions on AI. Personally,
Yeah,
what
go
I'm
on.
using it for right now is customer service, customer support, because you can train an AI bot on your entire process that you take your clients through. So if they have any questions on anything, that AI bot can answer it for them quite
Yeah.
effectively. One of the biggest impacts it's had on me is data analysis. And us marketers will probably know this. Before ChatGPT hit the market, hit the shelves,
Yeah.
I had a guy over in India who would do all my data analysis for me. And it was a pretty, it was quite an expensive job. And it
Yeah.
took at least 2 to 3 weeks for all that data to come back and, have all those suggestions. I can now do that for free using AI in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I get results just as good as I was paying for, which
Yeah.
is just absolutely game changing. I use it for frameworks in terms of writing page copy. So I have a copywriter, of course, but
Yeah.
as you guys know, the more information and the more sort of structure I can provide that copywriter, the better job they can do for me. So
Yeah.
I use AI to construct the frameworks that I then give to my copywriter. I don't use it for content creation. And it's just not there. It's very vanilla. It's very void of human emotion. It's very grammatically correct. And, as marketers, you will know that grammatical correctness doesn't work with content. It needs to be illiterate, it needs to be personal, it needs to be full of emotion, and that's how you create emotion, right? By me being grammatically incorrect. And
Yeah.
an AI just can't do that.
Can't do that.
Not yet.
And in your opinion, then, if you were speaking to the followers and the listeners, what would you say to them? What not to do? Because there are already a lot of people going, "Oh my god, I can build my own funnel using, as in my landing page, using AI, and I can do my own copy for LinkedIn and for Insta, and I can do all of this using AI now." But actually, and like, what advice would you give people in terms of how to use AI for their marketing and what not to do, and instead go to an expert like you or Sarah or Vish or whatever? So what advice would you give?
So whatever you do, don't use AI to replace the human elements of your business. And what I mean by that is content creation, conversations, engagement with customers, that kind of thing. Use it to automate and streamline the mundane systems and processes in your business. And keep in mind that I think it was a few months ago I seen an article on HubSpot where they were saying that 90% of R&D funding in the AI space has gone towards automating systems, not creativity. So don't use it to automate and, remove you from the human elements of your business, because no matter what, people want to speak to people. People want to interact with people. People buy from people, not businesses. We hear that all the time. Don't fall into the trap of thinking AI can remove you from that element, because it just doesn't work. It just doesn't. People can smell AI from a mile away. And, even the people who can't, it's only going to be a matter of time before they click on. That's it. And, the last thing I want is my AI bot trying to sell to your AI bot, and my AI generated content getting engagement from your AI bot, and it's just so ridiculous. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that AI is going to save the world, because it's not.
Unless it gets you like 95% conversion rates and you can be sat on a beach somewhere. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it can, but I don't think we'll get there.
No.
I think what's going to happen is we're sort of on this upward trajectory of everyone adopting AI solutions. What's going to happen is people are going to start using it for everything and anything, and we're going to kind of see this vanilla ocean of content and engagement, because it's all generated by AI. And what that's going to do, that's going to push people towards more human interaction. So we're going to see this huge adoption. We're going to see a peak, people getting sick of AI, people thinking, I want more humans in my life. And then we're going to see a huge crash, people just not using it because they're sick of the vanilla generated content. They want real humans, and that's when we're going to start seeing less AI, and then it's going to kind of start building up again, very much like the dot-com bubble, when we saw rise of all these websites, and then it all crashed down, and then a few emerged, and we're now seeing the same with crypto. That's all crashed down. We're going to see a few emerge. We're going to see exactly the same cycle with AI, but for different reasons, of course. People want humans.
Kind of explodes at the beginning because it's all new and it's fantastic, and like you said, it's suddenly people realize that actually it doesn't work for them, so that it kind of goes away for a little while and then it balances out, doesn't it?
Exactly. So I don't think we should fear it as professionals in terms of marketing. I think we should use it, but don't fall into the trap of trying to remove yourself from the human elements of your business.
100%.
Absolutely. I'd have to agree with you, mate. And people are really worried about it, right? Oh, we're going to lose our jobs. Oh, they're going to come and take over. I mean, when Arnold Schwarzenegger was a Terminator and he was a robot, he was artificial intelligence. When he was walking around, everybody knew he was a robot. Right? Cannot replace humans. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's the biggest, the most ridiculous argument, in my opinion, is the argument of people are going to lose jobs. Well, of course they're going to lose jobs, but AI is going to create new jobs that will replace those old jobs. And it's up to us to get off our lazy backsides and upskill ourselves, learn this technology, be a part of the future. Don't just sit there and think, oh, I've lost my job at IKEA. So go and create a new job, new skills. This AI revolution is happening.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? And it's actually evolution, isn't it? Ultimately, like, gorillas turned into humans, and now it's human into AI into humans, whatever it is. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that made sense in your head. I'm fully aware of that, but I kind of get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So, Alex, we always like to do a quick fire round with our guests. So, between the three of us, we'll fire over a few questions to you and see what your thoughts are. So, I'll kick it off, and it could be non-marketing or marketing-led. So, whatever you come up with. So, first question: marketing or sales?
Marketing all day, because I feel that that's where the sales are made today. Going back to what I said about sales and marketing becoming the same thing. What's more important these days, the conversation or the content on the front end? I'd have to say that the content on the front end, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. Awesome. Vish, your turn.
ClickFunnels or a generic funnel page builder?
Good
done. Got to be done.
I'm a die-hard lead pages fan.
Oh no! Why did you invite him here? Why did you invite him here? You asked him to run this past me before you invited him. Only joking, Alex. It doesn't matter though. Essentially, right? I mean, what are your thoughts around people going, lead pages versus ClickFunnels?
Vish, it's a quick fire round.
Okay, guys, sorry. I'll shut up.
But you can answer that question now. Go on, Alex, very quickly.
I like the freedom to create and customize, and ClickFunnels doesn't give me that freedom. It's straight out of the box. I like fancy integrations, APIs. I'm a geek, so lead pages allows me to do that.
Right, okay, cool.
ClickFunnels is for people like us, very like drag and drop. Thank you very much. Sarah, over to you.
What's one key tactic you can share with our audience about how to get 85% conversions or more?
Right. So break down your sales process. What are the questions you would ask someone on the sales call? How can you address those within your customer journey? And what stages in the customer journey are most relevant to that information that you're trying to gather? That is it. That is simply it.
Secret sauce.
That is gold dust, Alex. That is gold dust. That is gold dust.
I'm not going to go into the how as much because that's what I try.
For the how, you'll need to get in touch with Alex Rosborough at.
And how do we do that?
Alex, what's the best ad on TV? What's the best ad that you've seen on TV? from
Ever.
a marketing perspective? It could be ever. It could be in the last year. It could be
Oh,
the best one that you can remember.
this is a difficult one because I'm a sucker for funny ads. It has to be the best one for me. Has to be the John West salmon advert. I don't know if you've seen it,
Oh yeah,
where the bear gets into a fight with the guy, and then the guy kicks him in the privates and
Yeah.
the salmon. I just think that is brilliant, just because it just gets me. I think that. I can't remember exactly where I saw it. It wasn't HubSpot, but I did see data which showed that when it comes to advertising, if you can take a humorous approach and make people laugh, then you actually sales were almost, I think it was something like 25% of those who
Wow.
didn't use humor in their ads. And I can see why. Humor gets people to listen, and humor gets people to remember a story. And people buy stories, that's why they buy. They buy stories. So if you can tell a story that's memorable, people will buy eventually. And humor makes that story memorable.
So did you have a lot of salmon in your cupboard?
Wait, quick fire round.
I did. Yeah.
Go, Vish. You go, Vish.
This quick fire round. Static ads or long form video ads?
Can we define long form video?
Anything that's over, because I've seen people do anything over like a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Static ads.
Yeah.
Static ads. Unless you're the master of hooks, unless you can get the best hook in the world that's going to keep people on that video for that long, then long form video ads can do well. But static ads are just so much easier to keep people on and generate that click. As you guys know, ads sell the click, they don't sell anything else. So if you can just focus on the click and then worry about keeping them on the back end. So from that angle, static ads.
Boom.
Sarah?
What's the best book you've read or listened to that's really helped you with your business?
Great one.
One of my favourites, to be fair, something I listened to recently called Systemology. God, I can't remember who that's by. Can I just quickly get this up? Because this is a real game changer. By David Jens.
Yeah.
So he did a book. It's basically a follow-on from the E-Myth.
Okay.
Is it?
David Gerber,
like that, but more of a step-by-step process of how to implement what he spoke about in the E-Myth. That book is absolutely brilliant. Another book is probably from one of the most well-known authors in the business space, Robert Kiyosaki, but probably one of his most under-read books, and that's called Fake. So if you haven't read Fake by Robert Kiyosaki, that book is just an absolute game changer in terms of mindset and understanding, what is money, what is politics, what is economics, what is teaching and banking and all these things, and discerning where real value is created and where fake value is created, and how we're kind of living in this artificial economy all based on fake assets and, all these fake kind of financial instruments. Very, very interesting book.
Well, thanks for sharing those. I've not heard of either. So
I know, me neither. So, oh my gosh, what an amazing 40 minutes or 42 minutes that has been, Alex. I am going to end on one question, and that is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not?
No, it's not. And I'm sorry to burn your hopes and dreams if you think otherwise. But for me,
there you go.
Rocking back and forward in my chair right now.
The most popular question asked in marketing. Has it been marketed as a Christmas movie or not? Well, it is 50-50, I reckon, at the moment.
Well,
listen, Alex, if people want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Best place to get me is on LinkedIn, Alex Rosborough. That's where I'm most active at the moment. I'm also on Facebook as well. You can reach out to me on there. But yeah, your best bet will probably be LinkedIn.
And what we will do is we'll also provide his contact details and his social media handles on the show notes. But listen, if you have been listening to this particular podcast, I 100% know that you have walked away with some gold dust from the wonderful Alex Rosborough. So Alex, thank you very, very much for being a guest. We've thoroughly enjoyed having you. I hope you've enjoyed the experience.
Absolutely.
Remember to go and subscribe, like, comment the Ultimate Marketing Podcast. As soon as you actually put that into the search bar, we'll come up. So give us a like, give us a follow. Go and find us on YouTube. Make sure that you give us a follow and subscribe there. And from myself, from Vish, from Sarah, and of course from Alex this time round, I bid you goodbye and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Yippee-ki-yay!
See you soon.